first webinar series of the academic year 2021-22 on this knowledge sharing platform organized by Indian School of Commerce in association with ACCA on the topic Future Finance Skills, Career Path and Advancement. Our panelists are Mr. Kush Ahuja, Head of Business Relations, ACCA India. Mr. Kush is a chartered accountant with over 16 years of experience working in the area of finance with firms like Pricewaterhouse, Citibank Mumbai, and HDFC Portfolio Management Services for North and East India and the Middle East. He has done his MBA from ISB Hyderabad, specializing in marketing and finance. He currently heads business relations for ACCA India, based out of Dubai office. Welcome, Mr. Kush Ahuja. Mr. Nidish Singh, ACCA member, advocate, and vice president, JP Morgan Chase & Company. Mr. Nidish is a chartered accountant and a member of ACCA, CISI, and Institute of Directors. He's also certified in change and risk management, IFRS, and data science. Mr. Nidish has 15 years of experience in finance, fund accounting, and investment banking. He has worked on several leadership positions in JP Morgan, SS&C, Globe Op, and Citibank. Welcome, Mr. Nidish Singh. Mr. Jaishankar Srinivasan, a senior finance expatriate. He's a group controller of Al Mullah Group, Kuwait. A seasoned finance professional with about 3 decades of experience in diversified industries, presently associated with Al Mullah Group Holding Company as a group controller, responsible for corporate finance, strategic planning, and financial controls. He has held various positions during his 18+ years stint in Kuwait, including setting up business across GCC, has also managed businesses. He has extensively traveled across the globe. He is an interview panelist in the Overseas Recruitment Program organized by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Welcome, Mr. Jaishankar Srinivasan. Mr. Manoj Sundaram is a Google and Microsoft certified educator. He is a consulting education futurist and strategist with over 20 years of experience in implementing technology in K-12 and higher education classrooms. Experienced life and work in K-12 higher education in India, the United Arab Emirates, Singapore, and China. He works with senior leadership using his cultural adaptability and extensive expertise in strategic and operational planning, faculty development, international education, community engagement, ICT, and learning technologies. Welcome, Mr. Manoj. Mr. Chris Venugopal is a student psychology expert. He is a founder of La Liberta, a civil engineer who chose to be on radio for 11 years, a clinical psychologist, a voice artist, writer, actor, hypnotherapist. Mr. Chris continues his passion on the quest for knowledge through lifelong learning. He also served as an adjunct lecturer in Amity University, Dubai. In addition to teaching and hypnotherapy, Mr. Chris writes for international online magazines and has to his credit over 18 books in varied subjects, ranging from spirituality to fiction. With his professional training in transaction analysis and wide experience, Mr. Chris has been helping the student fraternity to rise and excel. He currently resides in Thiruvananthapuram, where he is pursuing his law studies. Welcome, Mr. Chris. Just left out, Mr. Manoj Sundaram is basically the founder of C3 IT Experts, Chennai. We also have with us Mr. Saravana Kumar, Head of South India, ACCA. Welcome, Mr. Saravana. Right, now about, welcome students, all of you. Thank you for joining with us today. About the topic, everyone in the world wants a good job. It's especially true for millennials, who will make up the workforce's largest proportion by 2025. The webinar on the topic, Future Finance Skills, Career Path and Advancement, is for students to get to know from the experts on how to explore lucrative career paths in finance, how to build a rewarding career in finance, the effective ways to calibrate themselves to meet the demands of the transforming accounting profession, and the financial tools needed to upskill their financial career to meet the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Over to the speaker slot, please. May I invite Mr. Kush Ahuja, Head of Business Relations, ACCA India, to deliver the keynote address, please.
Thank you, Bindu. Just confirming, am I audible?
Yes, please.
Well, Let me start by saying good morning to all those who have come together today to discuss on this very interesting topic. And I would like to thank our partners, ISDC, for organizing this event. I also thank my esteemed panelists and look forward to hearing their thoughts and insights on this topic. ISDC have gone to great lengths to support their students, spread awareness through such events, and ensure that future finance professionals get a glimpse into the trends and best practices and what the future may ask of them. This may spur action in some of you who will take those steps and make those changes to be future ready finance professionals. Just to introduce ACCA, the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants is the world's most forward-thinking professional accountancy body. Our aim is to think ahead and support the professionals and finance professionals to be ready for the future. We have 233,000 members and over 536,000 students across 178 countries. So these are not just numbers. You can see the acceptance of the qualification across such a wide variety because of the skills that it imparts. More than 7,600 approved employers and our unique global network that allows us to connect students, members, and learning providers and employers across the globe are some of the things that we do. Further, we also invest a significant amount in research, which we call professional insights, which we have been doing now for the past 70 plus years. And this allows us a unique perspective towards future finance skills, career paths, and advancement. For us to understand what skills are needed in the future, we first should understand what are the challenges and the requirements of the finance function today, where most of us will look to work as finance professionals. Now, there are macro disruptive forces challenging the fabric of industries themselves. The barriers to entry have changed. The way that industries or we compete with each other are evolving. And we are thinking very differently about our organizations in the future. And I think in the last couple of years, where we have seen the pandemic spread out, this has only become of more essence. And we need to be prepared. We need to be agile. We should also consider how technology, data, and skills are impacting our organizations and the finance function as we get ready for the future. Now, I've talked about some of these impacts, and these changes are giving rise to the evolving business models, more flexible and more responsive business models. And in turn, what is happening is that this is impacting the culture of the organization. We talk about our entrepreneurial spirit as a necessary step for organizations of the future. And this goes hand in hand with changing business models. People are no longer working in silos. People are no longer saying, hey, I'm going to do only accounting. You have to step out and be a part of the organization. You have to be innovative. And all of these things are contributing towards newer skill sets that are going to be needed in the future as we need to advance our careers. So what are some of these changes? And I'm going back to some of the professional insights that I just talked about. I would encourage all of you to have a look at the ACCA professional insights on the ACCA website. They're a great way to see what's happening, what's changing, and make those necessary tweaks and pivots in our career journeys to be more agile for the future. Historically, we all know simple things like, maybe it's just pedantic, but accountants will finalize, close books, look at transactions, what has happened historically, and account for them, so on and so forth. How traditional is that? But in a piece of research that we did, almost 50% of the people who responded to the research we carried out said that either now or in the next 3 years, all the time that you will be spending as finance professionals will be on generating insights. We will stop looking at historical data, maybe to some extent, in order to make decisions. And decisions at organizations will be driven by real-time, customer-centric data points that are available to us. So the traditional emphasis on what has already happened, historical data are all changing. And let's talk about now. Another big thing, so I've talked about two things, generation of insights and organizations being driven by customer-centric decision making. The third thing, accounts and finance people will need to share. Traditionally, we have been very good keepers of secrets, but what has happened now is that data or analysis are available to everyone. And that is going to be increasingly so in our organizations as they go ahead. Some of the traditional finance roles are also likely to disappear. So new skills will be needed, and this is already happening. So how do we prepare well? Let's look at all of these changes that I've just talked about and a few components of them that we will be bringing into our workplaces and businesses. The first thing is skills. We will need to be professionally competent, which we can get through a global qualification that provides us with application-oriented learning, not rote learning, but application-orientedness. The second thing is technology. I think we will need to be proficient and comfortable with technology. And this comes about not just by reading about technology, but being a part of it. Being in an environment where you are a user, being in an environment where you constantly push yourself to do more with it. And though it may seem tough initially, we all have to learn how to be continuous learners. Data and processes, I think we all are already working on it, but be ready to manage not small, but significantly large amounts of data. And what do you do with significantly large amounts of data? You have to be proficient at analytical skills. And something which encompasses all of the above is culture. In our workplaces, we will need to be global citizens, and this will come with great work ethics and ability to work in diverse cultural and physical environments, embracing opinions, ideas, talking to colleagues from remote locations, so on and so forth. So how do we go about getting all of this? This research, all of this research that ACCA does, it creates this insight so that we are able to bring the qualification to be always forward-looking and incorporate elements that prepare the students who are pursuing the qualification to be ready for the future. For example, I talked about our ethics and professional skills module, right? We just talked about culture where we said good work ethics, and we have an ethics and professional skills module that helps you prepare and test yourself. The 3 years of practical experience requirements give the assurance to employers that ACCA members are ready for the work environment, technology ready, and experienced in a corporate environment and will work in the right manner. Essentially, what you're preparing yourself to be is a complete finance professional. And being a complete finance professional requires all of the above and several competencies. And ACCA has a qualification across its 3 levels, which is the skills level, the knowledge level, and the strategic professional level, gears you across these 13 papers to develop these competencies that keep you future ready. Once these skills and factors are in place, you are ready to advance your career with the confidence that you can perform. For example, having basics, all the initial level papers in place is of great essence. When you go back and listen to employers, one of the things that they come back with is that, hey, great thing that you've done this and done that. Are your basics in place? So simple papers like business and technology, which may be the very first paper of ACCA, gives you the ability to understand the business in the context of its environment, including economic, legal, regulatory influences on aspects like governance, employment, health, safety, data protection, security. These may seem like a lot of words thrown around, but once you step into the business environment, you will see that all of them are needed for you to hold water as a professional. Let me give another example. As you move to the skills level, the performance management paper, you will develop the knowledge and skills in the application of management accounting techniques to quantitatively and qualitatively give information for planning, decision making, performance evaluation, and control. Why did I pick this particular example? Because I'm relating it back to the research, which says you will spend almost 100% of your time in generating insights. And when you move to the strategic professional level, the innovative papers like the strategic business leader, you will demonstrate the right blend of technical, ethical, and professional skills in the evaluation, synthesis, and presentation of responses through an innovative case study module. Now, these are various ways of testing yourself in an online space. In SBL, when you look at it through a case study, it will force you to think in a practical manner where you will develop orientedness towards application. And that's how, through a blend of exams, ethics, and experience, please remember these three E's: exams, ethics, and experience. They will help you to become that complete finance professional who is ready for the future. With this, I'll call it to a close, and I wish you the very best and thank ISDC once again for this opportunity to talk today to this forward-looking audience of budding finance talent. Thank you. Bindu, I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Kush. I would say the only thing which actually got into my mind is that I know about the students. You said we need to be prepared, we need to be agile. I think this need to really get into every student's mind. And then you said about continuous learners. That is something which we keep telling them every day, and I think it's happening on the student side, but then again, every time someone needs to remind them, that's it. And then exams, experience, and ethics. We need to hear from the students and what is their take on this. Thank you so very much for covering this topic in detail. Thank you so very much. Next, we move on to Mr. Nidhi Singh, ACCA member, advocate, and Vice President, JP Morgan and Chase and Company. Mr. Nidhi is going to speak on ACCA and future career path. Over to Mr. Nidhi, please.
Thank you, Bindu. Great topic. And as you know, I'm ACCA member for almost over a decade now. So what I have experienced and how I have benefited from my studies and experience in ACCA and how it has helped me in future, I'll take a quick journey. So let's start with the three level of the papers, which Kush has just mentioned. So starting with the basic and the foundation and skill level, basically. So altogether, knowledge and skill level papers give us the strong fundamentals about first understanding the organization, the structure, and then number crunching or analysis of the number, like management accounting and performance management number. So a natural question can be that, is that all going to be used in future by everybody? And I'll give you an example how I'm using this even now, though I'm sometime in the fund accounting or I'm in the role of the financial reporting. And lastly, nowadays I'm managing a techno-functional role, change management, project management. How do I use all different skill set that I learned in 13 papers? I'll give you a couple of examples. So business and technology, of course, that gives the fundamental structure. And business law, corporate law, that is also essential. Because when I'm dealing with the clients, the vendors, or I'm reading through any report, I do need to know that there are regulatory repercussions of every action my team and I take. There could be a compliance issue if we don't follow the rules and bylaws 100%. So those can have severe impact on the reputation of the organization. We need to go through the various prospectus and the legal document of the fund and the like hedge fund, private equity, etc. And having a paper like a corporate and business law helps. Moving on, management accounting papers. I'm managing a team, so I have my own P&L, profit and loss reports, and the performance report. I also need to manage the client profitability. So those papers helps me, even though I'm not a financial controller, still I need to have a good grasp on those number and analytics. So up to the second level, we have seen why we can apply and how we can apply all these skill set in the real life. Because as you make the progress from maybe an analyst to team leader to manager and AVP and vice president, you can't afford to keep going back and start reading the papers. And that's why qualifications like ACCA provides you in one go all the 13 papers, like of course level wise. And when you qualify with a holistic approach, a overall well-rounded professional, whereby you have the skill set to fly and travel through the ladders, right? And finally, the professional level papers. What do we cover there? So, as we discussed earlier, strategic business leader or audit and assurance or performance management, advanced financial management, these things have two elements. Either it will give you the expertise as the financial controller or the chief financial officer or a compliance officer or maybe audit manager, or paper like a strategic business leader help you understand the business scenario, where the world is going, what kind of the competitive threat you are going to face. And I'll give you an example. As an investment bank, we see frequently that our competitors have launched a platform enabled by artificial intelligence or machine learning, or they have some automated platform which can process the data or provide the client the required report within 5 minutes or maybe early morning 6 o'clock, and clients are very happy. If I hear that news, then I go back to my management and say that, hey, we need some maybe financing or the team which can help me counter those competitive threats, and we can upgrade our platform. But for that, I need to first understand what is happening in the market, what kind of threats that we have, how we can improve and be ahead of the competition. This is where even non-accounting papers like SBL or the ethics paper helps us to remain a holistic professional. That's what I call that, well-rounded professional. You can't be a business leader just by being very good in accounting or very good in management accounting or in the technology or in a particular financial reporting paper. You have to possess different types of skill set, because we know that CEOs are chosen from the finance function nowadays as well. Many CFOs are replacing CEOs. And if we aspire to go to that level as a professional accountant, we can't just rely on one type of skill set. Let's talk about the technology. We are hearing this word fintech and the data science, etc., very frequently. In fact, World Economic Forum said every one out of the $4 by 2025, like 25% of the world GDP will come from fintech and AI, right? World Economic Forum also said that if we focus on the right skill set for the AI and fintech, by 2028, we will be able to add additional $12 trillion to the economy. That means there is a massive potential out in the market. On the contrary, what if we don't upgrade ourselves in those space? We have seen the news recently in India, though it is unfortunate for now, and I don't think it is that accurate as well, that there will be a loss of 3 million jobs in various IT companies. And of course, when we say IT, it does not always mean IT related. It can have banking and business processes, various type of jobs that might be lost. And what is the reason behind this? The loss can come from those domain and skill set which is redundant, where people are not upgrading, and the number of jobs will move to those sector which is latest, like AI, blockchain, and the fintech, that might have more and more jobs opening in the future. Which means real loss is not there. There will be some job lost and new job will be created, because there was also a news that 90,000 jobs were recently created in the same IT firms. So that transition, we are in the phase of the transition whereby old skill sets are not as valued and new skill set needs to be learned. And again, this is where qualifications like ACCA and our own learning is important, that we constantly upgrade ourselves. We understand and know where the market is going, and we need to update ourselves. Couple of tips I can give how we do that, apart from studying from ACCA, and if we have already qualified, then how we can do that continuously in the future. There are many courses available, I mean, free of cost, or you can take some courses within your organizations, but ensure that you are upgrading yourself in 3 dimensions. First and foremost is, of course, IT, fintech. Try to get an understanding. I'm not suggesting as a professional accountant you need to start coding, right? Because that is one of the biggest fear everyone face, that do we need to start coding because fintech is going to be popular? No. As a professional accountant, you need to understand the framework. Like, okay, so how the data will be, how the card is swiped and how the data will flow. And if you look at the process and you find it is too complex and redundant, you need to make it smarter. So develop a design thinking approach and work with the technologist. Understand what are the checks and controls applicable. What are the compliance requirements? Can there be a regulatory breach? These are the strengths that you have as an accountant. You have, as an SEC member or student, you learn compliance, control, audit, and various rules and regulations. You can apply those skill set in development of a new platform or business process, right? So fintech doesn't mean that you need to start coding. Now, second, which is very critical, and Kush also touched upon that, is understanding of the culture and the soft skill. Right now, I have the teams which is in 10 different countries and 3 different time zones and across different cultures. Their way of working is completely different sometimes. But you need to either work with them, you need to manage them, or they could be your client. You can't choose your team, you can't choose your client, right? Just like we can't choose our parents or we can't choose our friends sometimes, right? These are all given. We have to work with them, and they are there to support us, basically. So we need to understand cross-cultural behavior, the barriers, the preferences, and how to work with them. Having a good soft skill set like negotiation, bargaining, assertiveness. Often, as you rise, and we discussed earlier that we are going into an analytical role. We are going to add value. We need to provide insight to our management and the client. What if I suggest a new application which will turn around things much faster? It will reduce the ETA by 50%. And my management is saying that, okay, it will require 2 million of the funding. I need to build my case, data analytics, presentation, visual data, everything. And I need to push the case in order to get the funding or the support to develop that platform. What does that require? It requires negotiation, discussions, data presentations, assertiveness. All these skill sets will be required. And that's why I say that technology, yes, it is coming, but it doesn't mean that you just need the technology. You need to have very soft skill set, how to amalgamate technology and the people together, how to create an interface of the technology with the client. Those skill sets are extremely important. And of course, ethics is going to be much more important, because as the world is taken over by the data and the technology, what is missing is the humanitarian view, the ethical view, right? Because the softwares and the data can still give a biased opinion. It can be misused if we don't inculcate the humanitarian view or the ethical view in the business. And that's why that is another area which people should be proficient in. And that's where we can add value, because in future, say in 20, 30 years down the line, if so-called robots or the AI takes over the business, then we will be the watchdog to see whether things are going right or not, because there were studies on the AI ethics that machine and robots can still make incorrect or unethical decisions because they will be based on the previous data. And the old data may not be justifiable in the future. It can still draw some wrong and discriminatory conclusions. And that's where a good accountant, an ethical accountant, has to be there to help the business. So that's my view, where we are going to. We need to develop the skill of the future, and there are various resources available within the organization. Change your, diversify your skill set, and access the resources within the organization. Get a mentor, develop professional network, participate in the webinar and such forums. Try to do some volunteer jobs as well, whereby you can diversify your skill set. There are various ways you can learn soft skill, technological skill, accounting skills beyond your job as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nitish. As the saying goes, old paves way for new things, right? So changing times, changing skills, the need is for holistic skill, as you rightly said. Coding, yes, I mean, there is nothing wrong in learning something new. So everything, it's as you rightly said, you know, an accountant need not be just be good at math, but then again, you know, need to be good at everything. techno-functional, or rather the change management, which you said that you're specializing in. I am sure that students need to learn a lot of things from you. I'm sure that they would approach you in this regard. I'm sure that they have a lot of queries on this. Thank you so very much for covering the topic in detail. Over to Mr. Jaishankar Srinivasan, a Group Controller, Al Mulla Group, Kuwait. Mr. Jaishankar would be speaking on future finance skills and opportunities in Middle East. Over to Mr. Jaishankar, please.
Good morning, Ms. Bindu.
Morning.
Good morning to the panelists, students, alumni. Basically, I would start with I would like to thank the Indian School of Commerce, ISDZ, and the management to give an opportunity to present in this forum. It always gives a youthful feeling to address the youngsters. This is my second presentation.
Guess he had some network issues.
Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, please. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just got disconnected. Right time, wrong time maybe. Okay. Okay. So let me move on to the topic. I would like to share a small presentation. If you can just help me. If I think it's disabled. Can you enable the presentation, please? Screen sharing.
Yeah, the host would be doing it. Just a moment.
Yeah. Is it visible? Are you able to see this?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for the technical issue where I lost a few minutes. Let me start with this future finance skills and opportunities. This is a topic what I'm going to talk about. The first subject is future finance skills. So when we say future finance skills, let us focus on what is the basics one need to have in their curriculum or one need to have in their mind when they graduate or when they move forward in their professional career. These are all nothing new to all of you, but I will tell you why I'm emphasizing these things. So the first and foremost is accounting rules, concepts, and application of these things. You all know about accounting rules. I don't have to say what are those. Concepts, basically there are 5 concepts. You all know about it. Using these rules and concepts, we prepare the financials, which is profit and loss account, balance sheet, and the cash flows. Then goes to the next higher level of preparation of forecasts like a cash flow forecast and then monitoring them. Why I'm emphasizing this is the foundation which makes a difference between a graduate and a professional. A professional gets into the depth of this and whether he is really qualified as a professional or not qualified as a professional. But anyone who has got an in-depth understanding of the basics of the concepts, and if he is able to apply these things in his day-to-day life, in his day-to-day work, and he is able to get the desired results, he is called as a professional. So please bear this in mind. I have come across in my career quite a lot of qualified professionals who still lack these basics, which will have a very, very severe impact in their professional growth. Moving forward, let me touch upon some of the advanced or the higher skills what we need to have. So these are some of the future skills one need to have it. So the first one is the business analytics, which I would like to talk about it, where there are certain applications available in doing this. So basically, this business analytics is something which we need to identify what is the requirement of a business, what a business is looking for in getting a solution or in getting a direction in moving forward. So a data helps in analyzing those data, compiling those data, and then we look at the outcomes and we look into the scenarios, then we evaluate the pros and cons, and then we come out with the right decision. So this is some sort of a business analytics, which at a higher level of finance function, we need to look at it. The second skill, what I would like to suggest, is the business intelligence. This is again a tool which compiles the data. I don't want to read it. You can probably go through this. I'd like to explain it in a better way. This is basically a compilation of the information, convert it into much readable, easy readable form, and then it puts into a right format and content where you don't get lost with the ocean of information, and then it enables us to do a easy analysis, and then this also helps in making a decision. Business intelligence tools are available by off the shelf by the application service providers, or these are also developed with the in-house developed tools with the large companies. Then we have this financial modeling is one of the advanced skill one need to acquire. So this is basically this worked on Excel, and we work on a large data basically, and then we look into the historical figures. Basically, this we use this for doing the cash flow forecasting, strategic planning, business valuation, especially when you want to invest in a business or you want to sell a business. We need to work on a large data looking into various parameters of the financials of the business. Even when we want to do an expansion, what kind of a forecast, what kind of a expectation do you have, and whether the business projections are meeting those requirements. Investment decisions, project planning. When you want to invest X million dinar or X million dollars, are we getting a desirable return on income? Are we working out on a right DCF method? So these financial modeling helps us in taking quite a lot of exercise, doing quite a lot of exercise, and in helping making the decisions. Financial management, which is a part and parcel of a finance function, I won't say it is an advanced skill or a feature skill. This is the base. Once again, this is a basic skill when a professional would like to look at it. So basically, this covers the entire finance function, monitors the entire finance function operations. As a finance professional, we need to know how we need to mobilize and manage the funds, which also forms part of the treasury and the working capital management, capex controls, and the financial controls basically on compilation of the financials and what kind of assurance we provide to the stakeholders whether these numbers are reliable. IFRS is something which I would say a gray area as a student and even as an aspiring professional in the initial stage. But this has become a very, very critical, very essential requirement in today's scenario, wherein a lot of changes have happened in our financial, in our accounting system itself. The last 3-4 years, there are certain standards which have become mandatory, like IFRS 15, IFRS 16, 9, and even the IFRS. The impact of IFRS in their business plan or in their operating results. So the impact is so much that we need to be on top of these IFRS standards, as well as those standards which will come up in future. So we need to see what are standards which are going to have a severe impact in our financials, which will change our view, change our method of accounting, and change the results, how we look at the results of the business. Going forward, I think Nidish has nicely touched on this fintech. So there are few things which we need to know as basic understanding so that we work with these professionals. It's not that we need to be a expert in these areas. So there are something like a data science, which is completely a fintech. Especially these tools are used to study a large data, to store a large data, and then it helps in extracting the information from structured and unstructured database, and it puts it tabulates in a readable form, and this also helps in decision making. Second part is the cyber security. Now, cyber security is a major threat what the entire whole world is facing today, especially the large business houses. All of you would have heard about the Air India, which has been, the data has been hacked a few months back, and what kind of a loss they would have incurred. So This is a special area. I have seen quite a lot of Indian chartered accountants getting into cyber security and risk mitigation measures. This helps in studying the security of the hardware and the software security of a company. Database security, how safely you can host your data, how safely you can manage your data, and how you are able to detect the issues and able to come over this. There are instances where the experts, the chartered accountants, were uh, able to mitigate the risk, able to manage this kind of a threats or a ransomware within hours time. That's a huge achievement by our Indian finance professionals. This one area where we can get into it, which is a very important requirement. Artificial intelligence, once again, we are not engineers, we are not scientists, but we can understand the way in which this artificial intelligence can work and how this can be leveraged for our financial advancement. So basically, these are all the devices, these are all the applications which will help in understanding the behavioral pattern of our data. And some of the banks use this for doing the credit rating and market movements in terms of the share market. There are certain where we used to have it in older days. It used to take days, not only days, time to do a large bank reconciliation, large volume. So after the advent of artificial intelligence, this has become much easier, and we are able to focus on a more productive work. And moving to the finance skills, again, these are all certain things we have to be on top of it. MS are very much familiar with this now. You can get into the working level knowledge of MS Office tools. ERP. When I say ERP, Oracle, SAP, MS Dynamics, something more also you can add. When I say ERP, I'm not expecting the finance professionals to become a database analyst or to become an implementation guy or to become a architectural person. We need to be functionally confident in understanding how this ERP works and what kind of controls and processes which needs to be in place in this ERP. And to put it in another way, you work in an organization, you know what kind of controls and processes are required to be installed in the organization, wherein you may not have certain things, but the best business practices will be there in this ERP. And how we efficiently utilize these ERP systems in implementing those best practices in our business. So our functional knowledge in understanding the ERP system will help us to transform into a functional consultant the more we get into it. I'm just saying it in a very casual way. It's not so easy, but there is one more scope of our opportunity in this. The next thing is, with the pandemic has helped us in understanding more about digital communication. One of the platform what we are communicating here is Zoom, and then we need to be very, very confident and very much familiarized with these platforms like MS Teams, Zoom, Blue Jeans, etc., which is going to rule the world for the next few years. Now, let me move on to the career opportunities in Middle East, just to give a glimpse of where is the Middle East. Now, if you're all able to see my cursor, this is India, then we have Pakistan, and we have Kabul, and this is the area which is called as the Middle East. So this area is called as the Middle East. Let me go a little closer to you. Now, this map shows the Middle East. Basically, when we say Middle East, there are 17 countries in the Middle East. You might be familiar with some of these countries. GCC is 7 countries forms part of the GCC, which is called Gulf Cooperation Council countries. So these 6 countries are called as UAE, United Arab Emirates. Now, most of you must have been familiar with Abu Dhabi, Dubai, and Sharjah. I don't know, you may not be aware about Ras Al Khaimah and other places. Qatar is another small country. You must have heard about this with the FIFA 2021 coming in. Bahrain was a economical financial hub. And now it's slightly, they're trying to recover that position. Oman is a beautiful country, very close to India. It's a large country. Kuwait is a very small country. It is in the Gulf, in the tip of the Gulf, where I'm living. Saudi Arabia is a large country, which is also located in the Middle East. There are so many other countries in the Middle East, like Egypt, Iran. You would have heard about all these names. Egypt, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Jordan, Lebanon, Palestine, Syria, Turkey, Cyprus, Yemen. Now, when I have to talk about opportunities in Middle East, all these 17 countries forms part of Middle East. Does all these 17 countries provide an opportunity for an Indian finance professional to go and work in these countries? The answer is no. These are all the countries which are included in this GCC. These are all the countries where basically the Indians can think about and consider to have a long-term professional career in these countries. They can also have a healthy family life as well in these places. So these countries, the other countries, basically they're all dominated by Arabs, and very rarely Indian chartered accountant will be able to get a professional opportunity in these places. So GCC is the place where we will focus our discussion now. This slide shows a comparison on these 6 countries on various parameters. One have to look at what country I can look at it. So basically, when somebody says, I want to work in a Middle East country, please look into these parameters. You have to see what is the cost of living of each and every country. Please don't say or consider a salary in the number in numericals and then say, okay, I'm offered so much of salary in UAE. So if I get so much of salary in Oman, I will join. And if I get so much of same salary in Saudi Arabia, then it will be comfortable for me. You need to see all these factors. The cost of living varies in these countries, standard of living, and so on, savings potential and professional growth and all the other factors. One simple thing, wherever the standard of living is highest, the savings potential will be the lowest. My friend in UAE will agree to this. So standard of living is the highest one in UAE, and you have the lowest savings potential. Now here in Saudi Arabia, if you see, the standard of living is the lowest because of the ultra conservative approach, and you have the highest savings. Then you have so many other parameters. What kind of professional growth we have? Dubai and UAE, I'm categorizing it as a tough, because UAE is a place where you have quite a lot of Western and Americans also occupy this area, the professional area. So it's going to be tough, but still I'm not undermining our capabilities. Indians also hold quite a lot of senior positions in UAE. Qatar, Bahrain, why I'm saying low is because of the high localization. Oman is medium, still they are also going with a they are going towards the high localization. Kuwait, though they talk about Kuwaitization, but still we have quite a lot of opportunities for the Indians. Saudi Arabia, the localization is very high, quite a lot of positions they have made Saudiization. So the professional growth is difficult, but one will be able to get an opportunity to grow to a particular level in Saudi Arabia. Now, these are all some of the industries which are available in the GCC. We have audit advisory, almost all the big fours are available in all the 6 countries. Retail, quite a lot of retail chain of outlets are there. Manufacturing facilities are there in UAE, some part of Oman, and also a little bit in Kuwait. Automotive is highly prevalent because most of the Arabs are very much, they like automotive. They are passionate about automotive. So automotive is one of the business which is a very high demand, and it's always on a growing trend. Financial services, again, this has got a huge potential in Middle East because a sizable proportion of the expatriates live in Middle East, and therefore the businesses like banking as well as the remittances business. So this is very highly, it has got a very high potential in the GCC countries. Now, why Middle East? When you all want to take a decision that I need to migrate to a foreign country, and if you want to decide which foreign country I need to relocate, or I need to look at my career prospect. So these are all some of the things which you can consider. In comparison with American and European countries, the Middle East has got a highest level of recognition for our qualifications like Chartered Accountant, CMA, ACCA, or CPA. Then very close to India, you can reach India maximum within 4 to 4.5 hours, and salaries are tax-free. Quite a lot of parts of Middle East, when I say Middle East, again, sorry, I should correct here, it is the GCC countries. So as far as this parameter is concerned, the Indian way of living you can experience in almost all parts of GCC countries. We have the community access. Almost in Kuwait, being a very small country, I can say all communities of the Indian nation exist in this Kuwait. So one do not miss the Indian way of living in even a small country like Kuwait. Of course, we get international exposure, working with Arabs, working with Americans, Europeans, and we explore the new way of working. Now, this slide shows the opportunities what we have in the GCC countries. Entry level, we can consider financial accountants. CMAs can look at cost accounting professions. Senior levels can think about becoming a finance controllers. A lot of analyst positions are there. Big Fours, as I mentioned, audit and advisory positions. Bankers, quite a lot of banks are there in the Gulf. So one can look into a banker as a to take banking as a profession. ERP consultants, the functional consultants basically. Finance managers for a senior professional. Industries, name an industry, almost we have all the industries here. Of course, manufacturing has got a very limited opportunity, but you still have quite a lot of manufacturing organizations also in this place. To give a glimpse of what a expat professional or expat finance professional can achieve in a place like Kuwait, I have given a snapshot here. These are all the large companies and mid-sized companies in Kuwait. Eco is the largest private company, and here Al Shayab, some of you must have heard this name. They are the largest retailer. They own a lot of mega malls in the Middle East. Al Ghanim is a large family-held group, diversified into many businesses. Al Mullah is a group where I am associated with, operate in 6-7 countries, 33 entities, diversified businesses. Telecom, we have 3 major telecoms. I will tell you the reason why I've taken 2 here. Veridon STC, they operate in 3-4 GCC countries. Landmark and Lulu are the retail giants, I would say, owned by Indians. Jazeera Airways is one of the major airline here. Royal Hayat, Hadi and Aliyah Hospital. These are the hospitals owned by Indians. AUK and COSTE are the education institutions, universities. Now, all these, this is not an exhaustive list. All these institutions or the organizations or the business houses, we have Indians as the CXOs, either a CEO or CIO or the CSO. So, and CFO as well. So, a lot of opportunities are available in the Middle East. It is up to us, how do we want to encash and utilize the opportunity and grow further in this country. I thank Indian School of Commerce, Ms. Bindu, and all the panelists and the students for having a patience listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. J. That was a wonderful presentation. I'm sure a lot of effort has gone in there to collate the details. Thank you for sharing the insights on the topic, covering the skill sets in depth, and most importantly, the analysis shared on the job market, which is open in the Middle East in the finance sector. Thank you so very much once again. Over to Mr. Manoj Sundaram, founder and CEO, C3 IT Experts. Mr. Manoj is going to speak on fintech and future. Mr. Manoj.
Thank you, Ms. Meenan. Well, thank you for the other speakers also on the stage. It was a pleasure hearing you all, and Jay Shankar did touch upon most of my points that I was planning to talk, which is fintech. From a person who doesn't understand finance, this is the biggest challenge that I'm addressing a webinar. I don't come from a finance background. I come from a technical background, and I helped institutions put technology in the right way. That's my forte. I'm trying to give a different dimension to this platform out here. When everybody's talking about getting a job, I'm trying to see, if my fellow teammates can, look at an entrepreneur skill. See if you can develop that skill, because that's something that we would need at this point in time. Because when I started working, Industry 4.0 never existed. But when we're introducing the Industry 4.0 in the industry right now, which is all about machine learning, artificial intelligence, so on and so forth, whatever was discussed, we're already trying to put the Industry 5.0 in place. Now, what does that mean to all of us? We are trying to collaborate between the man and the machine, and that's going to come up there. So I'm going to ask ISB to look at this as a skill set in their programs. And for the people who are listening to this live webinar. Try to see how you can, inculcate skills, which is, as a recruiter for my organizations, we look at people who can value add apart from the basic qualification that you would have. So I've also seen, people come with the skill set and how they evolve over a period of time. Talking about fintech, in technology in the BFSI, we're looking at AI trying to, become a big wave there. And we're looking at cybersecurity because more and more the payments become digital. More and more the customers are going to access the industry more digitally. That means there are more and more threats to the industry. So we would look at, from a technology perspective, cybersecurity, how secure is that space? So there's a lot of career around that space. There's a lot of space or opportunity for youngsters who can build applications centered around these spaces. So that's something that I would evaluate in this stuff. Anything else, Bindu? I think I'm going to limit myself there and let the other speakers speak.
Yeah, thank you. As you rightly said, and right from Mr. Nidish, it's a holistic approach which is needed. So the basic finance skills as such is not going to help the future ahead. So thank you for sharing your views on the topic. Over to Mr. Chris Venugopal, who's a founder, La Liberta. Mr. Chris is going to speak on a topic, finance. A portmanteau of psychology and finance. Let's hear from Mr. Chris on what is it all about. Over to Mr. Chris, please.
Thank you, Bindu. A warm good afternoon to each and every one of you. Let me all just cut the mundane, technical, lot of stuff which we have heard. Yes, it is all very relevant. But let me tell you a story, just as a beginning, a quick story. A girl, Maria, goes to a shop, sees a beautiful hat. She tries it on and she feels that it looks nice on her. A little kid remarks, "Oh, you look beautiful." And she gets really happy, and her mother, that child's mother, comes and says, "Lady, you're looking very beautiful on with that hat." And she decides to purchase that hat. She goes and purchases it, leaves the money, gets out. She stands there. Immediately a taxi comes. Without waving, it stops. She gets in. She's very happy. She goes to the office building. In the elevator, everyone starts complimenting her. That day, the manager asked her out for a coffee. She's looking very beautiful. And all that, she was getting more and more happy, more and more happy. Evening, she reached home, and when her mother opened the door, she actually said, "Wow, this was a beautiful day, and just because of this hat, everyone started complimenting me, everyone started liking me, everyone gave me all that happiness." And the mother asked, "Which hat?" Because she had actually forgotten the hat at the counter of the store when she gave the money. All that was her mind playing a game on her. Exactly when we look at that question, commerce or economics or finance is actually deep-rooted, as rightly said, on the humanitarian aspect or the psychology of a human being. Now, when we look at commerce or finance or economics, we all know, we have heard that name, Adam Smith. Now, everyone talks about Adam Smith being the father of economics, and if anyone can tell me what professor he was, can anyone throw light? Like, Bindu, can you tell me what was he teaching?
Finance, I don't know, finance and economics.
That's
sure.
What we think. If he's the father of economics, if I say Mr. Dinesh is father of Sukumar, so before becoming father of Sukumar, what was he?
Yeah.
Just like that, father of economics, he was not a teacher of economics, but he was a teacher of moral philosophy. Now, moral philosophy is actually a topic which is deep-rooted in psychology. So we can say that economics, if you look at Adam Smith's first book, we all heard about the first famous book, which is Wealth of Nations, based on which economics is considered very important, and the father of economics, all that. 1776 was the year. Now, if you look at 1756, he has written a book on moral philosophy, which is actually the reason for the Wealth of Nations, or economics actually developed from psychology, but somewhere psychology down the lane, it just was eaten up by a lot of other things. Now, why that story is just to make you think that whatever you buy, whatever you do, whatever you business or what kind of activity you do, it all depends on the mind. Now, talking about Adam Smith, he was deep-rooted in psychology and morality, and Wealth of Nations was there. And then, if you actually look at the psychological aspect of every human being, a consumer, an accountant, a mathematician, a scientist, a businessman, whoever it is, we will have a personality which is actually associated. If you actually look at any psychologist, he relies, or a psychiatrist, he relies by something called a DSM, which is the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual released by the American Association of Psychiatrists. Now, DSM-4 is the current one, so DSM-4 would actually divide the personalities into different kinds of people. Now, the different kinds of personalities really looks into, if we actually divide it on the base of intelligence, they say there are 4 kinds of intelligence. There, some people say there are 7, there are 8. The topic really varies. But look at the intelligence. Now, just for an example, the people who are into like mathematics or commerce or science probably would be having an intelligence called the logical and mathematical intelligence. You have other intelligence like music, you have the other kinds which can be spatial, different kinds of intelligence. But mathematical and analytical intelligence is very important, and that is the basis of psychology, which makes you a better commerce, economics, or finance graduate or a finance professional. Now, you need to think about abstract ideas. You need to have problem-solving skills. You can have complex computations, potential career choices. Like now, you have been told by Jai Shankar about the opportunities in Middle East. Now, it is for you and your mind to decide whether you want a high cost of living or a low cost of living. Do you want to earn more or have a high standard of living? That choice, no artificial intelligence can make for you. You have to make the decision. Now, what happens when you start working? The many psychosomatic illness, we had a discussion before the seminar among the panelists we were having. The psychosomatic illnesses are the main reason for about 80% of the problems what we have in life. We have headaches, we have unforeseen back pains, we have so many stress issues. Is it real? No, it is not real. It is all in the mind. So that is one aspect where a scientist or a mathematician or an accountant or any person would be affected to it. Now, coming to the economics or the finance part, you have to understand recently, about 20 to 30 years back, I would call that recent because Adam Smith is 1776 or 1756, and we are talking about a recent sign, which is about 10 or 20 years back. The sign-ins or psychology and finance or economical behavior or behavioral psychology or occupational psychology, all these things are getting more and more important. Now, try reading about Marshall's law. Now, Marshall's law says a person doesn't work for his salary. He works for his satisfaction. He works for many other things other than the salary itself. Now, if a person, let's say you are working in an organization and you're not happy with the environment, you're not happy with your colleagues, and you're getting a very high salary, another company offers you a lower salary, but you have so many friends and so many other perks. People recognize your work. They start appreciating whatever you do. They appreciate your looks and you have a free environment. Probably your choice is very clear. The human mind would actually choose for more comfort of the mind rather than a higher salary. Now, that is why a lot of accountants, a lot of financial people, they just continue in one office for 30 years, 40 years because they are comfortable with the environment. Now, why other people are not sticking on to one job? Probably they are trying to find more of recognition, more of acceptance, and more other things which are more important to them on a psychological basis. Now, if you look at the theories, mainly when it comes to sign-ins, 2 major theories can be easily put in. One theory is about the prospect theory, which is into the financial speculation and how a person invests, the investment banking. All these things really works on the prospective theory. Now, the prospective theory, you have to understand Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky. They actually put forward this idea, and they actually looked at how a person invests. Now, many people are ready to risk huge amounts of money thinking of a small gain, or risk a little amount of money thinking that they're going to get higher returns. All these things are psychological basis. Now, that is why when it comes to robotics or artificial intelligence, the human mind is not yet being made into a robot. So the decisions what a robot will make would be much different from a man, because his speculation, his idea about the market. If you look at any of the scams, be it Harshad Mehta or any of the scams which happened, all the financial scams were done with psychological moves. There were paper companies being made, there were artificial stamp papers being made, instruments of transaction being forged. All these things are games of the mind seeking higher returns. So psychology really plays a very important role. Now, that is about the prospect theory about investment and losses. Now, there is also a regret theory. Now, imagine a person, let's say you are getting out of your house with, say, 50,000 rupees, or probably your bank has a 50,000 rupees, your salary came in the previous evening, and you have 50,000 in your bank account. And as you stepped out, a 10 rupee note just slipped from your bag or from your pocket. Would you be thinking about the 50,000 in the bank or the 10 rupees which you lost? Probably you would be worried more about the 10 rupees which you lost and spend more time. By then, you could have made another 10,000. But the human mind is with the regret theory that I lost that 10 rupees, and you would be really, pardon my language, you will be working up the whole day and saying out whatever comes to your mouth. That is what happens when your mind gets affected. Now, on the long run, when you're working, there are a lot of aspects of psychology which will affect you, like the stresses, the social connections. If you're lacking that, then probably you will not be happy, and you will develop a lot of psychosomatic illnesses. You will start complaining of so many problems what you have. So all these things point to one thing: keep your mind safe and happy. Keep yourself stress free. Understand that your decisions are made not by just the numbers, but what your mind thinks about those numbers. Now, why a person invests on a particular stock or a share or a future is actually based on how actually he's looking at that performance and how his mind analyzes. If a computer is supposed to analyze how the investment pattern would grow, it would give a totally different picture. Now, if you look at the resilient Indian market, even if it crossed 35,000 points on a Sensex, now, is the business booming? No, those are just numbers. What is happening now? We all know the pandemic situation. Though the numbers are showing high, the performances really differ. The truth actually differs. That actually depends on your mind, and that's where science comes into play. So psychology and finance, if you have a strong backing of psychology, probably you will understand your client better. If you're into planning to become an entrepreneur, or if you're planning to be a particular, let's say, a finance specialist advisor, then you better know your client, because his psychology really matters. I will end with a little story about an insurance person who actually came to me. He actually came and said, "Sir, what happens if you die tomorrow? Your money, all that you're having, you have to put it on a premium on insurance, and then what happens is your family is going to get the money." I said, "Don't you feel ashamed that you come in the morning and you tell a person that you're going to die?" Now, that is a point of a thought you have to have in your mind. Because if he had come and said that, yeah, this is, though it's a life insurance, it gives you a protection for life, but this is how you can save your money. I said the same thing, but the perspective is different. So psychology really plays how insurance is sold, how stocks and shares really work, how the finance market works, how accounting works. Think of a person, an accounting person coming to the office after having a fight with his wife, then probably the tallying of those accounts won't happen. Think of a person who is very happy and the wife packed a beautiful lunch in a box, then he would be performing so well that something which he had not been able to solve for 2-3 days, he would solve in a matter of a few seconds. That's the power of your mind. So understand that psychology does play a very important role in any aspect of life, not just finance, but your life too. So stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. I would say beautifully put across. I would say we all need to learn a lot about the hat, particularly different hats, I would say. And then particularly finance students, this is the start of the topic. And then wherein you have just shared the basics on the term finance. Moving forward, we'll have a lot of sessions like this, and then wherein the students would get to know what is this all about and how is it going to help them in their career. Thank you so very much. Now for the alumni insights. Alumni to speak for 2 minutes each on their career journey. We have with us our proud students, alumni, Anandu Krishnan, who is working as audit associate with KPMG. Hello, Anandu. We have Mohammed Shain, who works as assurance associate with PwC Qatar. We have Jinu Jobi, who works as relationship manager with Catholic Syrian Bank. We have Vivek Pradeep, who is an entrepreneur. He runs a logistics firm called Pigdell. We have Syed Mohammed Niroz, who is an ex-CY, ex-BDO, and then currently an entrepreneur. We also have Adira with us, who works as external audit with BDO. Let's start with Anandu Krishnan. Anandu, please. Hello, Anandu.
Hello?
Yeah, Anandu. Yeah, you're
Am I
audible.
audible?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, welcome.
Hi. Hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Anandu. Yeah.
Okay. So how my career has grown in the last 1 year. That is what I'm supposed to speak right now, right?
Okay, yeah, right.
Yeah, it was quite a big journey, okay, to be frank, because from being really spoiled or being someone who enjoys from day-to-day life, only that was the meaning of all of it. Yeah, to be frank, on getting my MBA or getting really into the course, knowing about finance, knowing about the capabilities or the chances we have, it was quite a journey, helping each other. I quietly had a lot of friends or a group which helped me out. They always make me believe that it is not easy. It is hard to get a career, to grow a career. But once you have done that, then everything that was happy will always stay with us. I believe that. So finance is always like, I believe I was always interested in commerce. Okay. So that's why I was a commerce student. So once and all I started my finance career, things started to be more interesting. And yes, there are challenges we will be facing, and we have always need to be updated. See, I'm an employee at KPMG now. It's almost 1 year. There are many things to learn, still to learn. But yeah, having a finance background, it will be like nice to you only. You can always build your career if you really believe it is. So study well, enjoy well. So everything will fall on place. Like if you are into it and if you have a good group to support you, so make use of that support. That's it.
Thank you, Anandu. Over to Syed. Hello, Syed.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Syed.
Hi, ma'am.
Very good morning. You're welcome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good afternoon. It's really
Very good afternoon. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And very happy to be a part of this forum. Respected delegates, all the panelists and attendees. Hi, everyone. I hope everyone is doing great and good, safe. So we are being asked to, the alumni panel has been asked to tell about their career journey on how it went. And when speaking about my career journey, it is not that big, just 1.5 years of career journey that I had, because I'm a graduate of 2019 and almost it's like 2 years. So as you already told, like, yeah, I was been working with corporate life, EY. I was been working as an audit associate with EY, and then I jumped to BDO, again in there as an auditor. But to be very honest, like I was actually enjoy working there as a corporate life, but again, it was like on a sudden day and on a sudden moment that I changed to a different life. I mean, different thing. Like I started my friend approached me for a business plan. Like I always had a plan to do business from the very early childhood life on, from the 10th onwards, because that's why I loved commerce. I took commerce in the school and I took BCom, all the degrees, I have 2 dual degrees, professional degree, ACCA, everything. I added up all to my education qualification, and at the same time, I also wanted to do a business, because I had an aim, like always from the very beginning, to do business. So my friend come upon me, coming in my ideas. Now I can proudly tell that I'm running a restaurant cafe in my hometown, in central hometown. And also, it doesn't mean that I quit my corporate life, because most of the people, even my family itself, might ask me, oh, say you studied ACC, you studied all those degrees, and you are running a restaurant. So that's my passion. I studied because at the time that I want to pursue degree, at the knowledge, everything, I did that. And when some opportunity hit me, I just tweaked it. That's all. Doesn't mean that I quit the corporate. I'll be going back to corporate. I just don't want to miss that opportunity that came upon me. So I just invested in, because most of the delegates over here told me, if you're getting an opportunity, don't just put it out, try to invest. Because I have been heard from several other people like, make money work for you. That's all I did here. I just put some money over there, and I was actually earning salary last 1 year. Now I'm giving salary to 4 to 5 staff of my own. So I feel proud of telling that. And yeah, actually, when asking how's the business going, I'm very proud to tell, and I'm very happy that it's all good. Even in spite of this COVID situation, where even big corporates are finding it difficult to run their business, I can tell by the panelists or listeners who are listening to me that always food business is successful, because as long as there are human beings, as long as there are world exists, food business or restaurant chain, I don't think there will be a big dull, because we need food to survive. And then I heard from Jay Shankar or someone like finance expertise. So I have been asked to I like to ask a question to that particular
we'll have it in once the other
okay, fine.
Participants speak.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Syed. I think Syed is a perfect example for the holistic skill, right? He has tried out everything, and then I guess that you'll have another eureka moment to get back to the corporate life again. All the best for that.
Thank you.
Now we have Mohammed Shane, who works for PwC Qatar as Assurance Associate. Shane, please. Hello, Shane. Good afternoon and welcome. Hello. You'll have to unmute.
Unmute. Shane, please unmute.
Unmute.
I hope you can hear.
Yeah, Shane. Yeah, hi.
Hi, everyone.
And welcome. Hi.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
So I was a graduate in 2019, graduated in June. Then my career started with an internship in PwC Middle East. I mean, from the Qatar office, with the assurance. And then I think I interned for a season, like almost 7 months. And the next fall of 2020, September, I was offered as an associate to the same office. And now it's almost been a year as an associate in the audit field. And my, the main, what to say, is my expertise is in financial services. So I have a lot of banking clients, the exchange houses, those kind of things. To the students, who feel like, joining or taking up ACCA, there's a lot of opportunities, at least in Middle East, because I only know about Middle East. In this region, there's a lot of opportunities. ACCA, especially ACCA. So that was my whole career, I think. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Shane. Thank you. Now let's get to hear from Vivek Pradeep, who's an entrepreneur.
Okay, unlike all the others here, I don't have any corporate experience to share actually. But the only thing I have is a list of failures or list of a pathway of failures that I had to go through. I did my ACCA after my BCom and I failed miserably for 1 year continuously. After that, I joined ISC, and it was actually a really good experience doing my MBA along with my ACCA. We completed 5 papers from ISC, and there are 4 more papers to go. And currently, I run my own company. I'm second generation into my company. I have a logistics company called Picdel Express Cargo, where around more than 100 people are working for me. And it's actually not easy. Being the second generation into the company, you feel the pressure, you feel the challenges, and the margin of error is actually very less. Like you're going into an already established company, and whatever you do, it's getting judged. Whatever the people expect you to deliver, and that's a huge challenge. And it's actually a learning experience, a learning curve. And by the age of 24, I'm getting to experience all this. It's a huge blessing. and the exposure I'm getting to talking to you all people, listening to you all people, is huge. And yeah, every day is a new learning experience, and today also it has been really great to hear all these experience from Nitish sir, Ahuja sir, everyone, Jay Shankar sir, everyone. It was really eye-opening. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Vivek. You're really sounding like an entrepreneur. I'm so very happy that you have taken this and then you've been able to really do well. I'm seeing your post every day in the LinkedIn. Every time I happen to see your post, it's a kind of a proud moment for all of us. Thank you so very much for that. Right now, let's move on to let's move on to Ginu Joby from Catholic.
Anywhere, just the beginning. We have this huge goal towards the next 5 years. We are going to make it big. So my main challenge is to attain that capacity. That's what I'm trying to do.
Hopefully, you'll recruit future ISENs in your organization.
Exactly.
And then take them along. Thank you so very much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ginu Joby.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, Ginu. Very good afternoon and welcome.
Okay, ma'am. When I talk about my career path, I just initially I don't know how this banking sector, and when I entering into my banking job, I don't know what to do, what is banking and all. I don't know anything because it's only a short period when I joined here. It's only 4 months and all. So, but now I know what is banking and all because when I initially joined there, what I don't know what to do, what I can do there and all because. When I realized entering into this job is that if you know how to do it and your approach is in the right way, or you're really or genuinely interested or passionate about this finance, there are exit opportunities because there are, in this banking platform we have to develop our interpersonal skills, leadership skill, and we can maintain a good relation with the customers, and but there are a lot of networks we can make, and this is the thing when I realized when I entering in this job, and you become smarter. And banking finance is a strong platform. The most respect. I think that everyone says that banking job is the most respectful job, and now I realize that because when the customers entering the bank and they will speak up, they will speak to us, and I got the respect from them because that's the happy feeling when I speak to them, and this was the experience when I entering into this job and all. And thank you, ma'am. That's all about my job, and this is my experience in this bank field.
Okay, I think students or participants, if you have any questions to the panelists, you could type it in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello, Sharana Kumar. I will continue the meeting as and when Bindu ma'am joins. Okay, so
sure.
Myself, I'm Said speaking here, and then again, I have a question to Jay Shankar sir, who was speaking about the opportunities of finance professionals in the career and in Middle East and everything. Jay Shankar, sir, am I audible to you?
Yes, sir. We are able to hear you.
Okay. So you told everything regarding the opportunities, different industries, and regarding the GCC things, everything related to that, the future skills that we need, everything. So the thing that I want to ask is that, like, what would be the best advice that if you want to give to the listeners over here or the budding finance professionals who is currently learning ACC or any other professional qualification from India, like how easily one can find a job in a Middle East? What are the easiest ways or some of the ways that you can tell them? Because I know many of my colleagues, many of my students, my friends was still jobless, getting struggle to find a job in Middle East. So what will be your advice to them on how easily that we can get a job, or what are the ways or what are the skills, additional skills that we require to get a job in a Middle East?
Syed, can you repeat the question? That's what Mr. Jaishankar has messaged.
No, the thing is that, like, what would be
hi,
your...
Syed.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
are you able to hear me?
Yeah, right now. Yeah.
Yeah, can you just repeat the first part of your question, because I had some technical difficulties to hear your first part of the question.
Yeah, the question is simple. Like, what will be your advice, or what will be your words, good words to tell the budding professionals or the upcoming finance professionals, ACC aspirants, or other professional qualification aspirants on how easily, or what are the ways to get find a job in Middle East countries? Because I can find, still many people are struggling. Even the ACC affiliates are struggling to get a job. Who have experience, who have no experience. Yeah. So what will be your advice to them?
Okay. So it's a good question, Saeed. Basically, in the Middle East, it works on a sponsorship system. So these are all not the countries where you can just land and then you keep searching for a job. It's not going to be that easy in this part of the Middle East. So sponsorship system is something like employer will have to decide that he will give you a job, and then he will also sponsor your stay in the country. So a lot of people, non-professionals, or maybe the labor category people, they get cheated by the agents. Quite a lot of agents are also available in India. You've heard about it. It's that prevalent across the country. So being a finance professional, don't go through that route. You can always look for the advertisements. Most of the companies in Middle East, basically in Gulf countries, the GCC countries, the 6 countries, wherever they want to hire people from abroad, from India especially, they advertise in the local newspapers. So you can see the advertisements. You can look for the advertisements in the local newspapers directly by the companies, not through an agent. Those who recruit through the agents will be looking for a labor category where they want to hire a bulk of laborers, a bulk of technicians. So those who are looking for the finance professionals, they go to through 2 or 3 possibilities or options. They go through the recruitment consultants, or they put an advertisement in the local newspapers in India, or you can also approach, you can regularly look into the large companies in Middle East, go through their career portals, look at their openings, the career openings available, apply on the career portals. So it's always advisable to directly coordinate, directly contact the contact the company and the recruiter, where you'll have a high possibility of getting a job. So this will establish your direct connection with the company. So professionals are generally recruited through these 3 modes only: through a newspaper advertisement in the local country, wherever we want to recruit. Second is through the recruitment consultant. So there are quite a lot of consultants or your recruiters in India who are specialized in finance functions, recruitment of finance functions. You can identify them, you can register yourself with them. Sometimes, what happens, there will not be an advertisement, you will never come to know, but they will have the mandate in recruiting X number of professionals with so much of specs, So you can register with them, and you're not going to pay anything to those. Any consultant who are a professional consultant, they will not charge from the applicants. They will charge only from the companies. So you will not get cheated by them. So they will just connect you, they will screen you, they will connect you to the right company. Third is apply through the job portals. I think these are all the ways where you can have a right approach and you can connect with the companies. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Shankar, thank you very much, Syed, for posting that question. I'm so sorry, there was a power outage. So I was just trying to maintain it for about 2 hours. Now I've joined through mobile. Thank you very much for patching in. Thank you, Syed. Now the next question is to Mr. Kush Ahuja. Skills, including digital skills, are now a significant focus area, but 71% of employers struggling to find talent to fulfill their requirements. The new saying is, being good at math will no longer make you a good accountant. How does ACCA equip students to develop skills, including digital, to be those who stand out and meet future needs of employers? Mr. Kush, your thought on this, please.
Thank you, Bindu. A very pertinent question these days with the changing needs of employers as they come in a very dynamic environment. For a student's perspective, the first thing is to invest in yourself. Focus on learning. And, I'm referring back to Mr. Srinivasan's presentation. One of the things that came across so strongly is the need for concept clarity.
Right.
So focus on your concepts, invest in yourself first to get your basics in place before we get into, let's say, a digital skill environment. And a digital skill environment, as I mentioned in my presentation, is not that I will do a particular course and now I'm proficient in digital skills.
You're right.
Proficiency in digital skills is going to be by a continuous exposure. For example, a person who does a course in Excel is going to forget everything after a month. But a person who's using Excel day in, day out is going to struggle for the first 15 days to find out what should I be doing? How should I run a macro?
Right.
You know, what is VLOOKUP? But people who are using just these functions on a daily basis, after that, it becomes embedded in your mind and becomes second nature. And technology needs to be second nature to us. And that is going to come from the willingness to learn. So the practical experience requirement of 3 years and continuous learning are going to be key factors. I'll leave this by saying that don't be in a hurry. You know, most of us students are in a big hurry to complete our qualifications. Let me do this. After that, let me do the next thing. Let me do the third thing. And after that, I'll do my job. It's not about getting all qualifications together and getting them in a hurry. How soon can I finish, or how well can I? The idea is how well can you perform when you are at the job? You may have a ton of things under your belt, but when you hit your job, are you able to actually execute? Are you able to apply? And that is what an employer is going to be talking about. If you look at just India, in the last 1 year, ACCA posted 3,400 jobs just on the ACCA careers portal only in India. So that demand exists, but it will always exist for the right skill set. So please invest in yourself. Don't be in a hurry. Give yourself that digital experience. Thanks, Bindu.
Thank you. There is a saying, enjoy every moment you grow up. There is absolutely no rush, right? I mean, thank you so very much for the answer. Now over to Mr. Nitish. Based on the future finance function and the transformation predictions by 2025, there will be more self-servicing norms and employees will be doing new things in new ways. What are the future tools needed to upskill both current and future finance specialists? Your take on this, please, Mr. Nitish.
Thank you, Bindu. Again, very relevant question for current business. The opportunities or where we can upskill ourselves when it comes to fintech, new skill set, or various skills we discussed about. There are various rooms available right now and opportunities. Currently, almost all the organizations are offering skill upgrade programs. They are training their staff and employees to upskill themselves in the technology, soft skill, and various other fintech courses. So if I were to upskill myself, and when I see at different organizations I have worked and my colleagues are working, organizations are offering various programs and the videos, the courses to train staff, because 75% employers right now are concerned about the upcoming skill gap within next 12 months itself. So they are offering you the opportunity. So that is one thing. Secondly, I also emphasize frequently that we need to cross-train ourselves. We need to build our own agenda, how to cross-train, work in different teams, work in different projects, discuss with your managers and colleagues if you can get some different diversified projects and functions so that you can learn new skill set. Because if you don't set your agenda, you don't take the initiative, why will others do, right? So it is your responsibility that you actively pursue of skill upgradation. Beyond the organization, you can also, as I said earlier, volunteer. You can work with different projects and the team outside your organizations, maybe unpaid work. It will help you practice some of the skill set that you're learning in the book or in the videos or in the training sessions, as Kush also mentioned. Thirdly, there are various online courses nowadays on the YouTube, various educational platforms. They are offering new skill set, new technological tools where people can learn things. Of course, if you have completed your chartered qualification, SCA, etc., then it becomes a lifelong journey to continuously learn new things. That's called continuous professional development as well. So whether before ACCA or after ACCA, your agenda should be to diversify your skill set in your organization, take up the volunteer projects, read frequently, learn new stuff from the videos, and these are the way to stay updated. And not forget, networking is critical nowadays, especially on the platform like LinkedIn. You can be part of various groups which is discussing AI, fintech, blockchain, or the negotiation or soft skill development topics. Just by being in those groups, you'll get exposure to various tools and techniques which will help you. And find a mentor within your organizations. It can be your manager or someone else, or your mentor can be outside your organization. Find out someone who inspire you and be in touch. Ask them how to upgrade yourself. There are some off-the-track tools to upgrade yourself and learn new things.
Thank you, Mr. Nitish. Now, I think Vivek has got a question to Mr. Nitish. Vivek?
Sure.
Vivek, you had a question? Hello, Vivek.
If you're not able to speak, you can type and then maybe we can read out.
I'm actually not able to see the screen because I've logged into mobile. So, Vivek, are you there? Okay, let's move on to Jinu. Jinu, you had a question to Mr. Sarvana. Hello, Jinu.
Hi, ma'am. Both Jinu and Vivek, because they lost the connection. I cannot see them in the panelists.
They lost the connection. Is it okay? Anandu?
Even Anandu too.
Lost the connection?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Fine. Thank you, Mr. Nitish. Hello.
Yeah, I can see one question. Someone posted a question in the question answer session over here.
Let us just take it after some time. Now, let me just pose this question to Mr. Chris. Finance, the knowledge of psychology and finance being applied to your inner self, a transformation through education and self-actualization. Can we call it as a spiritual or financial literacy? If so, how is this learning going to help the students to set a strong foundation for a successful financial career?
Thank you very much. I would actually want everyone to think about what they understand from the word spirituality. Self-actualization, self-realization, all these things. It is being aware about oneself, like one's feelings, one's thoughts, one's emotions. Once you are aware of that, probably we have to go into the topics of emotional intelligence, how we tackle the emotions, how we actually look at the psyche of a person, how decisions are being made. All these things are essentially the main aspects of spirituality. Now, spiritual financial literacy, I could really say that that's a very new term which like science could develop into a new field of study. But again, one thing, just for an example, if you look at a finance person working from morning till night only with numbers and probably doesn't have much friends because there is a lot of secrecy, there is a lot of work involved, a huge amount of daily numbers being crunched. The social relationships, it actually is on a deterioration. Now, what happens to that person? After some time, probably he wouldn't interact much. He wouldn't interact with anyone. He would become very silent. Now, will that make him a happy person? The chances are much less. There are people who are very happy being lonely, being solitary. There are people who are very happy about it. But again, you have to give some time for you to calm yourself down. Like if you are actually looking at the amount of heat you give your mind, you actually need to calm down a bit. So self-awareness, practice of meditation, all these things, along with good socializations, good friends to talk to, and openly letting your mind vent all your issues will actually make you not only just a better financial person, it'll actually make you a better person itself. So the time is gone when if I have to say that I have a financial background, yes, my father is a chartered accountant, so I have a financial background at home. But again, I've not seen him interact much with people because the number crunching, that has taken most part of his life. So what happened to his social life? Now that question remains. So every finance person has to have a good work-life balance, which is the most in thing which is talked about, like all the use of technology, the use of artificial intelligence, all these things should help a person get some time for himself so that he can be human and not controlled by all these gadgetry and all the work and completely stressed. So I would really look at the more than the financial, spiritual literacy. I would give aspects of the psychological realization of the self, like understanding what the person is, his needs, and probably if the mind says that, yeah, it is time for you to have a tea, don't sit on the accounts trying to tally it because your mind has already gone to the tea shop. So make sure that you give yourself some time, and that will actually make you a better financial person, better human, and better self-aware. Yes, that essentially is spirituality all about.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Through that, work-life balance, specifically important. Thank you for that. The last question is to Mr. Manoj. We live in a VUCA world, given the economic challenges of today. The demand is for a cultural shift. New business models have appeared and old ways of doing business are fast disappearing. This demands greater technical and behavioral insight. What is your advice to students to rise to the occasion in terms of bridging the skill gap? Mr. Manoj, your question. Hello? I think we
lost it.
Yeah, lost the connection. Okay, now with that, we end the question session, and then it's time for the panelists' feedback, please. Let's get to hear from the panelists on how did it go on and your suggestion and advice to the students on how to take these kind of knowledge sharing sessions forward. How is it going to benefit the students? And let's hear it from Mr. Nidish first.
Thank you, Bindu. One thing that came out quite clearly, and I was very, very happy about this, particularly, is now the accountants, SCA members, and students considering the entrepreneurship. It's not that, yes, I'm not trying to say that the change is, there has to be a change because there's a scarcity of employment. It's not. But now we need to move up higher in the curve. We need to also consider different orbits, and I'm so happy to see that is happening. And that is also a testimonial of the skill set that they are developing. Like, because going into the entrepreneurial journey is not easy, it is challenging, and it requires a different, diverse set of the skill set. And when they are considering to go into that, reflects their level of confidence and the development as well. So, and why I'm happy about this, so excited about this, despite the fact that I'm myself in a corporate and I also try to go into those orbits time to time, and I'm trying right now as well. The reason is that there has to be a generation of the job creators now, and the skill set that people are developing in ACCA or accounting qualification needs to be applied to scale the business, create something new, and create the employment that will fast track their own development. And that is something fantastic which came out today. I'm so happy about this. And yeah, of course, the IISc as a college and ISDC and all of your effort is helping people to realize their dream and providing a support system. So fantastic work done overall. And of course, for those who are trying entrepreneurial journey, they can always be convinced that when they want to come back to the corporate and the job, they will always be welcome, because their growth and the journey will add value to the business and the employer as well. So there is nothing to fear that what will happen if they go to entrepreneurial journey and they are not successful. That thought should not come to the mind, because the world will remain open and the skill set is always valued if you try something new. So have confidence and pursue your journey. I would also add, I time to time mentor people, and I'm not saying that you need it, but in case you need any help, you can give shout if you need any support at any stage, because we need to ensure that people like you succeed.
Thank you, Ms. Nidish. Do shout people. Ms. Nidish is there to help. Yeah. Over to Mr. J.
Thank you, Ms. Bindu. Yes. I would say during my CA days, I miss to have these kind of sessions. And I have been benefited with these kind of sessions, would have gone somewhere else in the career. Okay. no regrets, but still it would have been in a very, very accelerated level. Now, in the corporate world, in the retails, you would have heard about a bundled offer. So this is what you guys have done exactly. You have put everything in a bundle. You have put a finance, you have put the fintech, you put the technology, you put the psychology. So everything in one basket, and you have given it as a very in a piece of cake given to the students. I'm sure definitely this is going to be helpful. They would have many more questions. I'll be very happy to answer those questions as well. So you can pass on the questions to me. My best wishes to all the students. This is definitely, it's going to be a very, very helpful session for them. And thank you very much for the opportunity. It's a very good session.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, over to Mr. Kush.
Thank you, Bindu. First of all, let me start by thanking all my esteemed fellow panelists. And it was very interesting to note that while we shared different experiences, the underlying themes of focusing on continuous learning, ethics, focusing on basics and concepts, all of these were continuous themes through all of our talks. And Mr. Srimas, it's very interesting that you should say, because I was, harking back to my own days 24 years ago when I was starting with my chartered accountancy journey. We had very little information to go by. And I think that I would encourage all the students who have logged in today to make the most of the insights that have been shared by the panel, to make those changes to your journey, to ensure that you invest in yourself. And I thank ISDC for giving us this opportunity to share our experiences and be able to put forth some of our views in front of the students. And I hope that they benefit from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Over to Mr. Chris, please.
Yeah, thank you, Bindu. Probably I got a glimpse of my past life from each one of the panelists. Thank you very much, because when Jai Shankar talked about Middle East, yes, I remember my 14 years in the Gulf. I was taken to the different aspects because I had many friends who were in the accounts and finance sector, these CPAs, CFAs, ACCA. Probably for one of the organizations, I did campaigns for why people should choose a career in the account sector, because there are less people looking at it. Because there was a time when people used to think that, okay, engineering nahi mila to theek hai, medicine nahi mila to theek hai, BCom kar lete hain, BCom ke baad CA kar lenge. That is not the kind of attitude we should have. And things are changing. So I happen to meet a lot of students who got interested in this. And today, this particular webinar has given me a real different perspective, that people are really interested in becoming, like Syed said, becoming entrepreneurs, going into corporate sectors, accounts, and all those different aspects. Now, when it comes to the fintech and all that, yes, I was a PeopleSoft instructor way back in the late 90s. So ERP, fintech, all those things, the changes have been a part of my life, because I see a chartered accountant at home. My dad still works. And one thing which you have to understand, being a chartered accountant or being an ACCA or a CPA, CFA, is the good thing is that you will never retire. You're a profession, you will never retire, like an engineer, a doctor, or a lawyer. An accountant, a professional, accounts professional, never gets a retirement. So I really wish a great future for all the students who are like here in this webinar, and really seriously thinking about a career in accounts and finance and economics and all the paraphernalia, which is so very lucrative also. So I wish you all a good luck, and thank you very much for the panelists for taking me back into a long journey, which to cut it short was more enjoyable being this webinar. Thank you. Thank you very much, Victor.
Thank you, Mr. Chris. Is Mr. Manoj there? Mr. Manoj? I think he lost his connection, right? I think he lost his connection. Yeah, okay. So thank you all for joining us today. We hope the future accountants have found the session informative and engaging, wherein the panelists have dealt with the topic in detail, covering almost all the major queries raised with a profound knowledge and industry experience. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, alumni, for sharing your insights and showing more light on the path you have already traveled. Thank you, participants, for being with us today. Wishing you all a great weekend and hoping to see all the panelists, I would say, in our future webinars on the knowledge series. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Bye.
you.